All right, yesterday Chris Curtis went completely unhinged on Twitter, and I want to go over it in today's video. He made some pretty shocking admissions. Okay, that's one. He also made some very poor arguments that I want to go over and counter in this video. And also, it turns out Sean Strickland was completely and totally 100% correct. We did not know how right Sean Strickland was. Okay, we always know Chris Curtis was to the left of Sean Strickland. We had seen them argue on occasion. We just didn't know how far he was, and it turns out he is all the way. Okay, so we're going to go over all of his tweets. And by the way, he brought this on himself, completely and entirely going out of his way to reply to Kevin Lee and Gray Maynard, who the initial post was from. But I just think that this post becomes all the much more funny. This was from August 17th, right? We're almost 2 weeks away from that. Talking about how the UFC marketing team is ruthless, yet you seem to be doing a very good job at screwing that up for yourself. Okay, so let's get into it. Before we do, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, Kevin Lee was responding to a Gray Maynard tweet, and he asks, what do you tell your 12-year-old son when he asks why there are tampons in his bathrooms? Okay, and Chris Curtis responds to this. He goes out of his way to respond to this. He didn't need to, and then wonders why his followers drop off. Okay, easy answer. They are there for anybody who needs them. If you don't need them, don't worry about it. Asked my mom what a condom dispenser in a bathroom once was. She told me this, and I never worried about it again as a child. Okay. Number one, this is an unbelievably stupid tweet from Chris Curtis. First of all, in the first sentence, it presupposes that girls should be in the boys' bathroom and vice versa, that boys should be in the girls' bathroom. Okay. And then says, if you don't need them, don't worry about it. No, I am worried about it. Okay. Because I wouldn't want a guy going into the bathroom with my daughter, especially in a gendered space, okay? And somebody goes on to make a very horrible argument, Aaron Bronsteter, in a following tweet, which we will get to. But this is unbelievable. You just presuppose that it's perfectly fine that we're allowing girls in the boys' bathroom and boys in the girls' bathroom, okay? Ask my mom what a condom dispenser was in a bathroom once. I would imagine, Chris Curtis, that this was not at a school, considering you were with your mother. Right? You probably walked into a public bathroom somewhere else and saw this, not at your school, which is the heart of the issue, right? We should not be allowing children who are of the opposite sex to go into the opposite sex's bathroom, okay? She told me this, and I never worried about it again as a child. So, horrible answer. Okay, I'm not even going to go over Kevin Lee's response to this because I want to respond to these. We'll get to the next tweet. Somebody replies to him. I don't know who this is, but he's got a check mark, which I guess doesn't mean much nowadays anyways, but regardless, our schools keep all the feminine hygiene products with the school nurse, to each their own, but this works well for my daughters. This is probably the absolute easiest solution to make everyone happy with zero extra effort. So why didn't you bring that up? You are now pretending as though that you disagree with the premise or the concept that you would have tampons in the boys' bathrooms. If you would prefer that they were with the school nurse, and if a young lady or young girl needed them, she could just go ask for them, that's perfectly fine. This is completely and totally different from them being in the boys' bathroom. Now, here's Aaron Bronsteter underneath. I just want to point this out because this guy gets a lot of praise from a lot of mainstream MMA media. He is an unbelievably ridiculous Canadian, okay? And I am a Canadian myself, but just believe me, we are not all like Aaron Bronsteter, okay? This guy's ridiculous, and in my opinion, he is the minority of Canadians. We have seen him shame people like Dricus du Plessis. Him and Luke Thomas shamed Brian Campbell into uttering an apology for saying he felt uncomfortable about some of the ways Izzy was going about promoting that fight. Long ago when Izzy went in the cage, we all know the things that he said. Aaron Bronsteter says, perhaps we need to ask people why potentially having to answer a question from their child makes them so angry. Because that their worst case scenario, that is their worst case scenario, I'm assuming. Now, first of all, the reason why it would make me angry is not answering the question itself. The fact that the question exists is the problem. Okay, again, presupposing that it's perfectly fine for a girl to be in the boys' bathroom and vice versa. That is what they are doing. They are trying to skirt around the heart of the issue, right? The reason why we have politicians like Tampon Timmy putting or writing legislation to get feminine products put into boys' bathrooms. I don't know why this is so hard for them to understand. He goes on. Anyone who lives in a house with a woman has feminine hygiene products in their bathroom. Aaron Bronsteter, riddle me this, dude. Do you have a boys' room and a girls' room at your house? Maybe you do. Maybe you have your own personal bathroom. It doesn't seem to be the case. When we are talking about a school, we have gendered bathrooms, okay? And we have them for a reason, right? Your bathroom at home that you share with your wife and your children is not a gendered bathroom. That is a family bathroom, by the way, right? So not a stranger going in there that is of the opposite sex. It is your wife, right? So this is an insane and ridiculous argument. Aaron Bronsteter is an absolute fool. Okay, this guy's an idiot. And I hate that he gets pushed out and propagated by the MMA media. We move on. Chris Curtis. I guess I'll make this clear. I'm not saying tampons should be in all bathrooms. I merely don't care if they are. That's part of the problem, my guy. You should care. Okay? I understand that you don't. But if you have children, you should care. Okay? As I said, I wouldn't want girls. Listen, guys, I feel like would care a little bit less. Okay? Having girls come into their bathroom. Although, at a certain age, it's undoubtedly uncomfortable, right? And creates a weird dynamic there. I wouldn't want women walking into the bathroom with my son, and I would not want men walking into the bathroom with my soon-to-be daughter, okay? It's just, this is so, you cannot care, that's fine, dude, but a lot of people do, and pretending like it's a ridiculous thing to care about is fucking stupid, okay? It just is. I learned about periods when I was in the 6th grade, and I was never scarred by this info. Why is it so scary to you all? I genuinely don't get it. This is so disingenuous. Okay, this is intellectually dishonest. He is, again, presupposing that it's perfectly fine that women are in the men's bathrooms. They are I don't understand how this is so hard for him to understand. This is insane. It's not scary, right? My children, my sons understand this as well, right? The problem is it's the fact that, bro, the fact that they need to be in the men's bathroom is the fucking problem. Because as I said, I've said this fucking so many times now, and it's driving me crazy, so I apologize for all of you that have to hear it. It's presupposing that it's perfectly fine to just scrap the idea of gendered bathrooms, especially for children, and just allow it. I don't get it, dude. I would imagine most boys in high school know what a fucking period is, okay? The problem is that you've got girls going into the boys' bathrooms and vice versa. Do you understand that this could create so many problems? Like, why doesn't somebody ask him about, how do you think this would, if somebody wanted to commit a certain crime, an essay of sorts, do you think it would be easier or harder for them, right, if a girl walked into their bathroom, into a private place where the door's shut, where there's stalls that lock, right, where teachers don't regularly frequent, okay? It's insane to me. It's insane to me. I just don't understand. And then you've got idiots underneath replying. This is a trans person, by the way, clearly, okay? He says, oh my God, my kid might see a cardboard tube with some cotton in it. Not the fucking point. Not the point, okay? And they're skirting around the issue, and they're doing so on purpose because they know it's a very hard position to defend. We will move on, okay? Chris Curtis replying to somebody who agrees with him. Some of these boys don't wash their damn hands or they piss on the seat. I'm not sure fathers are concerned enough about the right thing. A whataboutism, okay? This is a whataboutism, right? If you frequent my channel, you have heard me say this many of times. This is a whataboutism. This is not a legitimate form of argumentation. Well, what about that thing over there? Okay, fine, dude. Dads should teach their kids how to not piss on the seat. And there is still the issue at hand that we're speaking about. Hello? Fucking idiot. Move on. Okay. Chris Curtis, next one. This is the insane admission, and I was actually surprised to read this. I was very surprised to read this, although not really. Okay. As I said, Sean Strickland always told us, right? This guy, he's a liberal, but he didn't tell us he was like a full-blown lefty. Okay. He didn't say that. He said he was more on the liberal side. But, you know, it is what it is. And also, they had their falling out, right? And Chris Curtis ended up blocking Sean Strickland on Twitter. And I would imagine maybe this has something to do with it. Or at the very least, topics like this might have had something to do with it, okay? So this person says, dude, it's just, quote, dude, it's just a book. Don't worry about the cross-dressing freak reading it to your kid, based, okay? That'll be you in a couple days, I assume. And then calls him a retard, based. Chris Curtis's response to this. My son's first babysitter was my very flamboyant trans friend. He had a blanket with their face on it until he was 4, and it finally fell apart. Literally been talking to my son all week about his girlfriend troubles. I think he is all right. I don't know, dude, because it seems as though we might not know what a girl is. Okay, Chris Curtis, that's one. But this is fucking insane to me. This is insane to me. Even if you don't want to get into anything else regarding certain statistics, right? The fact that by definition, by definition, you allowed a mentally unstable person to look after your child. This is a horrible decision. This is a horrible decision. Would you let a schizophrenic look after your child? Probably not. Yeah? Would you let somebody who was like suicidal look after your child? That might have just fucked my monetization, but regardless, right? I mean, would you let somebody who was an absolute anxiety-ridden fool look at, like, I don't understand this. If you don't want to discriminate, whatever, bro. But listen, dude, you have got to be fucking insane to allow somebody that is by definition, because of this bit right here, mentally unwell, to look after your child regardless of the mental condition that they actually suffer from. Okay? You must be an absolute fucking moron. All right? And it makes me sad that there's people like this who would put their child in harm's way, as I said, regardless of the mental condition, okay? Because they want to appear virtuous and progressive. It's disgusting. He had a blanket with their face on it until he was 4. This is horrendous, dude. This is nightmare fuel. What are you doing? Your poor child. That is like literally brainwashing, okay? Listen, dude. I'm not one to try and tell people what they should do with their children, but I'm sure as fuck going to criticize it when I see something wrong, okay? I'm not going to tell Chris Curtis how he has to raise his kids. They're his kids, right? I know how I raise my kids. But as I said, I'm going to criticize when I see something wrong. If you see a parent beating their child, like viciously or some shit, and I'm not equating the two things, for those of you that are about to say that, you would probably say something. Do you know what I mean? Moving on. Kevin Lee responds, it's crazy how people make analogies of being trans with the same thing as being a disabled person. Okay. We'll go to this tweet, which was Kevin Lee replying to, the answer is simple, my brother. The same reason people need glasses and some don't. Everyone is different and everyone has different needs. Is that not a logical answer? No, it's not a logical answer. Actually, it's a false equivalence between somebody that would have issue seeing, okay, and having men in the women's bathroom and vice versa, okay? Blatant misrepresentation of what was said, and needing glasses are not a disability. Okay, well, I mean, now you're being fucking pedantic, Chris Curtis. What is it, a superpower? For Christ's sake, dude? Holy shit. Maybe if you've been paying attention to the Fighting Nerds, it might seem like that. We're going to move on. I'm still mad about Aaron Bronsteter, by the way. We don't claim him, okay? Whoops, I saved that one twice. Regardless, and as I said at the beginning, right, August 17th, Joaquin Buckley talking about how, damn, he's glad Chris Curtis got injured because he would have seen himself getting knocked out and shit. Hey, Buck is right, though. I love the UFC, but their marketing department is ruthless. The moment you fuck up, it's everywhere. My guy, it doesn't seem that you need help from the UFC's team to destroy your own career, okay? It just doesn't seem to be the case. You are absolutely unhinged. You are in a sport in which you know there's a high probability that the majority of fans are more conservative leaning, okay? You go out of your way to respond to these things, to start this whole shit, okay? Because you saw something you agreed with on Twitter, that Gray Maynard post. And then you get into it. And then you make a tweet, by the way, we'll go find it, talking about how, looks like I'm going to dip me back under the 42K follower mark. I'm sorry, Chris Curtis doesn't talk like that. He literally speaks probably whiter than I do. But regardless, right? Like, yeah, gee, no wonder. Now he's laughing about it, but he's probably like, ah, fuck, man. Bro, this is on you. You chose to do this, right? And then he continues on with it. Like, he is trying to destroy his own career. He is trying to destroy his own career. And I'm not sure why. But, you know, I'm glad Sean Strickland is no longer friends with this guy because he's an absolute psychopath, right? Anybody that would put their child in harm's way. As I said, dude, I don't care what the mental illness is. I wouldn't let somebody mentally ill babysit my child. I just wouldn't, okay? And I'm going to be, quite frank, if it was my parent who was mentally unstable, mentally unwell, I don't think I would let them babysit my child, right? Regardless of their relationship to me. So, anyways, dude, Chris Curtis, absolutely fucking unhinged. Sean Strickland was right the entire time. And if you ever see Chris Curtis complaining about how he doesn't have fans and shit like that, completely and totally his fault. Also, I would be very curious to see if any media outlets offer him an interview recently, or maybe even Aaron Bronsteter, right? Keep an eye out for a Chris Curtis interview, because I would imagine if we see one in the coming days or weeks, it will be regarding this, because as we know, a lot of the mainstream MMA media leans the same way Chris Curtis does, right? And they're probably going to try and help him out in some way, shape, or form. Like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.